Welcome to another edition of the Gridiron Report. I'm Jared Johnson, and before I dive into the content I want to share, I want to talk about, be sure to go to Red Ritter Outfitter. You can get awesome dark horse sideline polos like this. Sit up a little bit, sit up straight so you can see it a little bit clearer. But also, I love their caps. I've said it pretty much on every video. It's the truth, especially if you go to the store or online. But if you go to the store and just see all these amazing hats they have, just for somebody losing their hair, going gray, and all that, it's been a godsend. And I also want to share my appreciation for River Outfitter being a gracious sponsor of this channel. But what I want to talk about in this video is a truth about Tech football and this team this year that has become like just a baseball bat over my head, abundantly clear, is that when Texas Tech involves Cam Dickey and Jacoby Williams, and I'm not saying just run the ball, I'm saying get those two guys the ball. When they do that, this team is very difficult to beat. The one time in which Tech failed to do that this season is the 1L on the win-loss column. There's a lot more that went into it. I've already given Arizona State its due, and rightfully so. But I think one of the things that stood out in terms of what Tech did wrong in that game was they did not involve Cam Dickey and Jacoby Williams enough. I think they had 12 carries between them. I think Jacoby had maybe one catch for 7 yards. I don't remember exactly what Cam had, but they had about between in special teams, receiving and rushing, they had about 15 or 16 touches, and that's just not enough. It needs to be at least 25. Jacoby Williams was just named Special Teams Player of the Week in the Big 12 after his opening kickoff 99-yard or 98-yard return. It was just electric. I can go back to Jacoby, at Utah setting the tone with that short pass. I think it was like 3rd and 15 or something. It was a great play design by Mac Lefwitz. They got him the ball in space with a couple of blockers in front of him, and Jacoby just zigged and zagged and ran through and around everybody and got down in the red zone to set up Tech's first touchdown, which was a huge moment in the game. You think back to that situation, Tech 3-0, a lot of hype, coming off a terrible non-conference, big bad Utah with this number 1 offensive line, who is a very good team, by the way. At home, Rice Eccles is supposed to be impossible place to win at for road teams, and Jacoby Williams really set the tone. I could name other times when Jacoby his explosiveness, his ability, his dynamic ability as a ball carrier. I don't care, kick returns, as a receiver, as a runner, get him the ball. And then Cam Dickey, a completely different player in terms of his size and stature, and can be more of a battering ram is the best way I've found it to describe him. But he's also shown surprising explosiveness. Both as a receiver and a rusher. You look at that game he had against Kansas, of course, and Kansas is a poor team against on defense and against the run, but still, Cam showed a lot of ability, a lot of quickness, a lot of explosiveness in that game, but not just in that game. And as a receiver, he's taken short little passes to the house. I think that one against Houston stands out to me, where it was zero coverage, all out blitz by Houston. I think they lost Cam Dickey out of the backfield. Great read by Barron, and Cam did the rest, man. So I look at the struggles on this team. Tech's going to have a good defensive front. Tech's going to bring pressure. For the most part, they're going to stop the run, be amongst the best in the country in those two capacities. Special teams has been lights out. My man Kenny Perry, the special teams coach, who I've known a long time, has done a great job throughout the years being Joey McGuire's right-hand man. If you need a running back coach, I got you. Okay, you need me to also be special teams coordinator, I got you. And then now with Garrett McGuire coming in and coaching the running backs, he's focused solely on special teams. And don't get me wrong, there's been some things that punt formation obviously didn't go the way one would want. There have been some problems, some missed extra points and stuff like that. But for the most part, excuse me, what they've been able to do on special teams has been amazing. So under Kenny Perry, and including this year. And I really love, this is off topic, but Coy Aiken as the punt returner, he's been a big boost perhaps the best punt returner Tech has had in some time. I know he had at least two back-to-back 36-yard returns in consecutive games that were big. It almost helped win Tech pull out a win they shouldn't have won in Tempe there as well, with that big return late in that game to set up a go-ahead touchdown. But going back to my point, so the defense is going to be strong, especially up front, in stopping the run, creating pressure. Special teams is great. You're going to have an advantage most games in that. On offense, the offensive line has been up and down, all season. It's just been a roller coaster. Not as much in pass pro, but more in run blocking. The receivers, I mean, let's face it, they've underperformed preseason expectations. There's been some really good moments. Coy Aikens had some great catches. So has Caleb Douglas and Reggie Virgil. Definitely Terrence Carter being out has hurt that group, the tight end. And he hopefully will be back this week. But to me, you have in the quarterbacks, the injuries, of course, I mean, 3 different quarterbacks have played meaningful snaps, a lot of injuries, which we talked about ad nauseum. But my point is, even with Quentin Joyner, who was expected to be at least the split primary ball carrier, he went down with a non-contact ACL injury as well. So you can imagine what this backfield would look like if you had him as well. But the one constant in terms of like good performing group and the most explosive dynamic players on this offense have been Cam Dickey and Jacoby Williams. So my point is, get them the ball. And I think a big part of the game plan should be not just figuring out how to run the ball at them, but how to get them the ball to utilize that explosiveness, that dynamic ability they have with the ball in their hands. And I think that should be the case every week. You should be coming up with new ideas. I think they've shown some potential in that way, obviously, because they've had success. But my point is, avoid them or don't give them the ball on a consistent basis at your own peril, Texas Tech, because those 2 players have been outstanding, lights out for you. And if this critical 4-game stretch you have let's face it, at Kansas State's going to be tough. BYU at home is going to be tough. UCF, if you want to go to Jerry World, you should win that game, but especially at home. But, it's still a Big 12 opponent, and you got to worry about a letdown if you get through these 2 games coming up. And then at West Virginia, obviously they're in transition, they're rebuilding, but it's still there. So my point is, if you want to win these 4 games, which is probably what you have to do in order to get to the Big 12 championship and achieve that primary goal of winning your first Big 12 title, you got to feed those 2 horses. It's not about saving them. I mean, they might be banged up here or there, especially Jacoby's had, some issues. But you can't hold anything back now. Barron's back. If you can play, you have to play if you want to achieve these goals. And you have to get those 2 guys the ball. So I think I've said that enough. I hope I've made myself clear. That's how I feel very strongly about it. Of course, big matchup against Kansas State there in Manhattan at 2:30 p.m. Central Time Saturday, a game that will be televised on Fox. And I really hope we see those 2 guys shine for the Red Raiders. But for now, I want to thank you for watching, and until next time.